How's it going, YouTube? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today, my Nationals deck profile for Branded Despia, of course. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the preparation and the reason why I chose to play Branded. If you want to jump straight to the deck profile, there's gonna be a timestamp in the video, so go ahead and do that. First and foremost, I want to shout out my testing group, my team, the Blazing Branded Chefs, who helped me a lot with this deck. It's our Messenger Facebook group. Uri Diaz, Chris, Raul, you know who you are. Thank you so much for all the support and your help with building this deck. So again, you can just jump to the deck profile if you want to see that. Otherwise, I'm going to explain a few things before. I decided not to play Branded because I didn't have a lot of time to prepare. I had about, I would say, 4 days to prepare. I was preparing for Malice, for playing Malice. I was getting coached. I was doing everything in that line. And then our Nationals got canceled and then postponed and then rescheduled. So I had about 4 days to get ready, and my decision was like, not going to sweat it. Going to go with Branded. Going to try to come up with something new and interesting. And testing went really, really well. But unfortunately, I did not see as many Mitsurugi and Malice as I hoped. If I saw more of them, I think my chances would have been a little bit better. But alas, sometimes that happens. Lost all the die rolls today, and unfortunately did make day 2. It is what it is. I think the deck is probably, maybe a few side cards, but probably the main deck could be the best option for playing Branded, the best deck list, and hopefully people can use this as a template with some of the ideas, and there are some interesting ideas here and some spicy stuff that haven't really been exposed yet. And I'm going to expose them here, obviously, because this was me and my group's doing. Hopefully people can use this if they do want to play Branded, which is, I think, still a deck that can compete. And maybe I'll do some replay analysis showing you how good this deck is, just breaking boards now that the secret is going to be out after this deck profile. So yeah, maybe people can use this as inspiration for WCQs. But anyway, let's dive into the deck. I'll stop and explain where I think there needs to be some explanation. 50 cards main deck, 3 Aluber, and 3 Albaz. Really not much of like a choice here. I think these are mandatory, 3 Albaz especially. I think this was maybe a little bit controversial, but worked out, I think, in my opinion, really well. Just 2 Cartesia and 1 Quem. I thought I was always like 2 Quem is mandatory. I did not miss the second Quem kind of like ever. It doesn't really come up. If you get to resolve Quem once, you're usually ahead. And as Nash once said, Branded wins fast and loses fast, and you should be winning fast. 2 Cartesia is definitely just enough with 3 deployment. You get to recycle your Cartesia every turn. You don't need 3. The 1 Quem was controversial, I think, to a lot of people. But I think that it's a good card, but it's not what your deck relies on, really. It's a really, really good card, but you can do with just 1. As long as you have another Despia in the extra deck, which I do, then these are like the main monster lineup. Now, for the Bestials, I played 1 Lubellion, 1 Magnamut, and 2 Serenir. People, again, it has been like a little bit controversial. People have been saying you have to play 3 Serenir. I've been saying you have to play 3 Serenir just because combined with many, many cards in this deck is just like full combo. It's a really, really good card. The reason I did play basically Lubellion going first is another Serenir. I didn't even see 1 Fiendsmith. I don't know how popular it's going to be for you, but it's another copy of Serenir, which is good. Magnamut is here for a card in the side deck, which this is another copy of, basically. So this is why I chose to play this Magnamut, even though it's not such a huge card in Branded. It's not that necessarily good. You can search a lot of things, obviously, with Magnamut. It's a great card. But there's a specific reason you'll see that in the side deck. These are still kind of non-negotiable, I think. This is an exceptional card, gets you anything you want, and I haven't been like staying away. People have been playing this at 2, I think. I think it's fine if you want to play this at 2 and play 1 Serenir over it. But at the end of the day, I think this card is just like a lot of fuel and gets you exactly what you need. And especially in a Droll format, if you start off with this, then you should be really like, we'll talk about Droll a little bit later, but You can sequence your plays to play from the graveyard and not from the deck. And this is why this card is good, because it gives you that flexibility. 2, Mercurier. I am playing Allure of Darkness. We'll talk about that. Kit, Tragedy. I almost cut Kit for another branded Retribution, which is still something that I think is valid. This card is not that great. It makes your High Spirits a starter, obviously, but I didn't really find myself like summoning this. And if you're grinding and you're low on cards, then it kind of sucks. It's obviously a card that needs to be considered, but these two were really, really good. You always want to see one. You always want to have one in the hand, one to banish off of whatever. And then Tragedy is still... It's another card that allows you to play from grave, which is great. Now, for the other cards, I played 1 Ito, the Supreme Magical Force, and 1 Fua. Now, I didn't intentionally, initially I didn't really intend to play Ito, but when I saw where the format was going and the games that I was having, I was getting hit with Protoss and Eschatos a lot of turn skips, a lot of things that, can break your board and then just set up an FTK. And I figured that I needed something to counteract that. Even though Ito is not as good as Gimmick Puppet Nightmare, it is still a card that I felt like could be very valuable, and I think it was. Some people are on Bell. There's much less like Bestials and stuff. Impulse is a thing, but they would usually spend it during your turn. And I got to resolve this a lot today. And again, it's kind of like fighting fire with fire. You don't have to play this. I know a lot of people don't like this type of gameplay, but it is Nationals at the end of the day. And if you're not going to Ito someone, they're going to Protoss you and Eschatos you, and you're just going to lose because of that. So I needed a weapon against that. And 3 Fua, people have been asking me or telling me to main Droll instead. I don't think necessarily it's the better choice. Fua, of course, with High Spirits sets you up with an Albez fusion during your opponent's turn. But I felt like with a deck like Branded, I rather draw cards and let my opponent play. I have breakers. I have cards that can clear up their board. I have cards that get advantage from them playing. And it's like Ryan, you said when he topped with Striker not that long ago, that he didn't play Mulcharmies because he wanted the opponent to play, which is not exactly the same case as here, but I want to draw cards, right? If I can make my opponent have a weaker board, that's fine, but at least refreshing my hand, drawing into more board breakers. This deck and this build, and you'll see in the side, it needs to draw a little bit deeper. This is why my Droll is in the side, and this was my choice. One of this card and 2 of this card. This is, again, another pretty controversial take here. A lot of people, including myself, really like High Spirits at 3. It's also exceptionally good versus Droll, which I got Drolled a pretty good amount today, to be honest. And I wasn't expecting to be impacted as hard by Droll, but I couldn't really fit the third one, and I felt like 2 was enough. To be honest, I think 2 was enough. I did not miss the third. Again, you get 1 in the end phase every other turn. You're going to get another 1 to the hand, and once it's in rotation, you should be fine. You can play 3. I played 2. And I don't think I would have changed it for this is not... I might have would have changed a few things in the deck. This was not one of them. I think 2 High Spirits is still fine. Branded Opening, kind of dislike this card. I don't know. Every time I saw it, I was like, both are not good top decks, right? You need another card to play. And then 3 Deployment. These are pretty standard, like the pretty standard branded cards. Another maybe a little bit controversial card is Allure of Darkness. A lot of the times if you start with this, people think you are on Malice and will ash it. And that happened to me a lot. But you need to be careful with this card because this card does lose to Droll. This is something that people have said a lot to me. I think it's still worth playing. And I do keep it post-side as well. And the main reason is, again, you'll see the side in a bit. You'll see some of the board breakers in the main. You need the draw power. You can access Branded Fusion from Grave. You can sequence your plays so that you don't lose to draw. Sometimes you will lose to draw. There's just not a lot of ways around it. You will also lose to draw without a Lure of Darkness, but in a build like this, going second is very comfortable if you have a Lure of Darkness. It gives you 2 extra cards to break the board, and each card here is like a powerhouse. So I did play 3 Allure, and this is something that I wouldn't have changed. Maybe cut down to 2 Allure. Maybe. 3 Thrust and 3 Super Poly. These were great. I didn't see Super Volley as much as I would have liked, but in testing it was really good. You'll see the targets. Malice and Mitsurugi get hit pretty hard with this. Mitsurugi Ryzel with Despian Proskinian. You can just normal Aluber, take away their entire board, summon back their Detonator, and resolve your Aluber because they don't have Cross or Amino. So these were the board breakers of my choosing, and I think these were fine. And then some other branded cards, 1 in red, 1 lost. I did play 1 Foolish, 1 Sark. I really, really liked playing these 2. Gold Sark is obviously like for one specific thing or like for 2 things, like for either Mercury or Tragedy. But Foolish was surprisingly like good. Even sending Serenir on top of your combo to send branded opening so you don't get blown up by Amino is very, very valuable. This card was like kind of like a joker in my hand every single time. Like every time I had this in my hand, this was any card that I wanted, and I really like the extra consistency. Again, Droll is a thing, but this deck can really, really like play well from the grave. Droll combined with like other hand traps, maybe a little bit harder, but again, it's not a reason. Like this is not the deck to say like, oh, I'm gonna lose to Droll. Like you can definitely play around it. 1 Call by the Grave, 1 Talents. These are pretty standard. And then these 2. Again, I was testing 2 Retribution at some point. Because, you know, either 2 Retribution or 2 Duplication or more Duplication in the side. Eventually I didn't do it. Maybe it was fine. I duped, I think, once or twice the entire tournament. Branded Retribution, on the other hand, you use this a lot, right? You use this a lot, and you need to win the game if you use it. So maybe 2. That could be something interesting. So this was 50 cards. Changes in the main deck, to be honest, like maybe cutting down to 2 Allures, maybe adding a Serenir on top of it, maybe doing something with Kid. I dislike this card so much, but again, it's consistency. I felt like the side maybe needed a little bit more work than the main, but again, my side and main deck were for the 2 best decks. I saw one of them once, and unfortunately, like sometimes when you meet like a deck like pure Kashira, it's hard if you don't have the right cards. But yeah, 2. This was actually a last-minute addition. Shout out to Raul. The second Mirror Jade. A lot of people have moved to playing 1 Mirror Jade. I thought this was actually great. This is the best card in the deck. So running just 1, this opens up so much because like you make the first Mirror Jade. You have set up in the grave for like Albaz and Rinbrum and Quem and so many ways to get this like another Mirror Jade. But if they out the first one, then it becomes a little bit awkward to get the other one, right? But with 2 Mirror Jade, you're not losing anything in the extra. Trust me, there's no there's no one card that you'd rather have than like the second Mirror Jade. And yeah, it proved itself. Like this was really, really good. I do recommend playing 2 Granguignol just because of like the grind with Cartesia, with Edo and stuff like that, and Albion is just like mandatory, to be honest. And then other cards. This is mandatory. And this is mandatory. And this is, of course, mandatory. This is, if you don't play Edo, you don't necessarily need this card, even though it's a good card to play under Fua. If you get Fua, then making one of these with like an additional like interruption, it's not bad. Like you can make a Mirror Jade, you can clear stuff, and yeah. This was something that was also kind of last minute. Masquerade in the main. This was another like powerful weapon against Malice. Like having your board or breaking a Malice board and then putting this on the crackback with a few more interruptions. And it's very easy to put on the field, right? It's not really hard. You have a lot of Despias. I think this was, I really liked having this in the main. You could have this in the side, but having it in the main gave me like this nice comfort of knowing that, you know, if you don't manage to kill, this card seals it. So these are like the kind of like the rest. And then Proskinian. I did not play Queritus because I really like never summoned it. I don't think it's that good this format, just like Proskinian does so much. And again, normal Aluber, if you have Aluber and Super Poly into Mitsurazio, you just normal summon the Aluber, you just chain the Super Poly immediately. You don't want to get crossed. And then on resolution, you make like with Aluber or Quem and Amino, which is a dark, and Detonator, which is a light. Then you make this. On summon, you just activate Proskinian, target their Detonator. You can banish it if you want, but you can summon it for another pop. You can activate the effect, attach a card, have a material on it. So yeah, this card is good. It's a good push with Granguignol. It's a big body. It burns for damage. It's a really good card. And then Stapelia, Chaos, which got an errata, by the way. But again, this is still a pop 2. The second Mirror Jade came in instead of Guardian Chimera, which I did not play. I decided not to play this. The second Mirror Jade is much, much more important. If you want to pop cards, you can pop cards. It's absolutely fine. It's as easy, if not easier, to do this than Guardian Chimera. Guardian Chimera can get ashed. If you're under Droll, if you drolled your opponent, you can't activate Guardian Chimera. And these two obviously like Super Poly targets, Granguignol, draw 1. This is like good advantage. And this is the extra deck. Now for, I guess, like where the spicy things are. Now, up until now, it's like all ratios, whatever, right? Side deck, like the 6 mandatory cards, right? Again, people have mentioned Droll in the main. I didn't think it was necessary. You don't need Droll to beat Mitsurugi at all. Like your main deck is fully equipped to do that, even without Fualos, right? You can break it. And then this is for the extra push after siding to deal with Ryziel and stuff like that. Even Malice can get hit by this, but yeah. Another 3 cards that I kind of liked having. It was like these 3 slots were the slot that I really, really struggled with. It was Lightning Storm first. Then I took the Lightning Storms out. Eventually, I was left with another Prulia and 2 Dogwood, which actually saved my ass. I was scared of Malice, and this card is theoretically really, really good against Malice, especially in Game 3, where if you don't draw the Fua or the Lancia, or even if you do draw the Fua, they can still like win in time after like a 10-minute combo without you having to do anything. So having something to draw into with the Mulcharmies, right? Because drawing into board breakers in time is not going to help you. So this card proved itself. It was really good. This card is cancer, but it works. And this was something that was an additional... I didn't feel like I need anything else against Mitsurugi. However, this is Max C. Mitsurugi puts up 3,000 bodies each time. They're not going to play into this a lot, right? So in a big tournament like a Nationals, it's something to consider. And finally, these are more monster types because we need monster types. Because I was playing 2 Eschatos and 1 Melody of Awakening Dragon. So this, I think, was the thing that separated this branded list from everything else. Shout out again to the Blazing branded chefs. This and Protoss are the best board breakers in the game right now. And people will hit you with this card if you don't hit them with this card. So Mitsurugi and Malice are both sort of like a xenophobic decks. They're one type, Cybers and Reptile. And again, this is why with Mulcharmies, with Zombies, with Aquas, with Fairies that you have a lot, you have a lot of Spellcasters, you have Dragons. It's very easy to resolve Eschatos, right? So the idea is, and it worked. Like, it worked and it won me a lot of games. Not in the Nationals because I didn't side it in a lot because White Forest was like meh. Koshtier was like, okay, it's psychic, but like, I don't know. The theory is that this is a dragon. You can search it off of Magnuma. This is a spell card that searches for Eschatos that you can search off of Thrust. And once you manage to clear enough interruptions from your opponent's board, this card comes down and basically locks them for 2 turns. And you can do this each and every turn. And on the crackback, you just kill them. This was, I think, was the main breakthrough. It didn't really prove itself for me, but I think it is very, very smart for you to give it a shot and give it a try and see if you like it. I think this was the main difference in breaking a mouse board, leaving them on like very little resources, baiting out as much interruption as possible, and then just locking them out of Cybers with your last card. And this is again why Allure is important, because you want to dig into it. The Mulcharmies help you get to this card and give you extra types in the graveyard to banish. I didn't mention this, but basically you need to banish 3 different types from grave or face-up field to summon this, and then you call a type, and everything on the field with that type is destroyed, and neither player can summon that type for 2 turns. So Cybers and Reptile, you don't really care. So I thought this was a breakthrough, and it worked in testing. I didn't make it a lot in the tournament, but I think it's something that people should be aware of. And then Duster Sanctum Barrier. Overall, I am personally disappointed because I thought I could make top 16 with the right matchups, right? I wished for more of the top decks, but unfortunately, like White Forest and Kashira, I was not, game 3 against White Forest, I managed to draw, but got hit with D-Barrier. So sometimes it is what it is. This is the format. It's a lot of FTKs, but I still had a lot of good fun and a lot of good time in theory crafting for this deck. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Still on the branded train. Not this time, Nationals, but we'll get him next time. And hopefully more videos like this soon. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.